back easily. So yeah, that's effective. It's new basher time. Hello folks, welcome to Netcruzer RC. I bought a new RC recently. Actually, this is something that's been in my pile of shame for a while. So I have a little bit of a habit of buying RCs when they go on sale and then not touching them for a while. So this is one of those RCs. I won't show you my other pile of stuff, but I've been buying things when they go on sale, not necessarily when I need them. That can be a good and a bad thing. I tend to be able to acquire RCs when they're on a good deal, but then I also tend to not touch them for a while. This one is actually one of the newer RCs that I've purchased, and I'm just going to go on a bit of a road trip soon, and I want to try it out. So this is a big basher that I got. I got a FireTeam. Yeah, got an ARRMA FireTeam. This is a 7th scale RC basher. It has quite a few features that I've never had before on an RC, and we're going to talk about them. This went on super sale at Black Friday of 2022, and I picked it up then. It was in stock at my local hobby store. Any of the hobby stores that are Horizon distributors got this deal available, and hopefully if you had them in stock and you wanted it, you picked it up because it went on sale for like $300 off or something ridiculous. It was a big discount. It's one of the newer ARRMAs on the market. This came out in 2022. Early 22 is when this came out. This came out after all the EXBs. This is actually a Mojave chassis with Creighton arms, a long truck and a wide wheelbase. They went for this unique side-by-side style body. It's like a Polaris Razor. It doesn't have any Polaris branding on it. It says ARRMA on it. And if you saw Hemi-Storm's video, he took this body and he turned it into a Polaris Razor. You can get them in black or white. And I think the reason why they may not have sold all that well is because of the Army look to it, you know, elite trooper style look with guns. And guns are really, you know, hit and miss with a lot of the population. I personally do not like the guns and plan on taking them away, so we'll go through that as well. This has most of the 5th generation ARRMA 6S vehicle design, so it has the center brace, has the extra durable parts, as well as it has some unique features. It has the Safe D pinion, so it has the captured type screw where your pinion can never come off. It even uses an E-clip, so in case your grub screw ever comes out, it cannot fly off the axle and strip out. Extra strong aluminum centered diff cup, which you don't get on a lot of the other ARRMAs. So there's a sprinkling of some like extra durable parts in here, but this is not the same as an EXB. The chassis does not have a 7000 series aluminum. You know, the chassis is still a standard 6000 series aluminum, and hopefully we don't bend it. It has the motor heatsink and fan. It has the newer Spectrum electronics. Actually, a cheaper radio. It has the SLT radio, the SLT3, but it uses the Spectrum dual protocol SR315. This is the special firmware they're running this receiver where it can run it in SLT protocol, which is the old Tactic protocol, or you can run it in DSMR, which is what you will need to pair it with a Spectrum radio, like a DX5. You get your 17mm wheel hacks and tires, a unique wheel design that I'll show you on the real thing. And the body is very different. You know, here's the body style here. The nice thing is the body's totally optional if you want to, totally removable if you want to take it off the chassis. It just uses standard body clips. The body is fully caged with 4 drivers. You get 2 servos because there's a steering servo and a brake servo. You get your electronic speed control, and the motor is a 4074 2050 kV brushless motor. It's the same 2050 kV that is on all the other 6S vehicles, which some people may not like because this is a much bigger, heavier vehicle, but at least it has active cooling and a heatsink on it. Okay, so I took it out of the box off camera because it's big. Here it is. Let me just get some of the plastic off. And yeah, it's a FireTeam, you know, 7th scale vehicle. And let me bring in the camera closer and we can take a closer look at it. So it is very military themed. You've got guys with guns. Now the guns have 2 screws and they can be removed. Also the arms articulate as well as the head. I am going to de-weaponize these guys, as well as I plan on customizing this a bit, where right now it's pretty blacked out, but if you've ever seen one of these where some of the body moldings are taken off, it looks really cool when the body moldings are off, like the actual panels, and then you've got more of the cage exposed, because this is a fully caged body and there's a lot of detail to it that kind of gets lost along the way. And I'm shining a light on this just so you can see it's pretty dark and you don't really get a sense of all of the lines and the design that is on this machine. It's pretty cool. The bumpers are nicely tucked under, and being that this is a long wheelbase with a wide track, it should handle really nicely. So it's got great suspension travel. Articulation is okay, it's not the best, but it's meant for speed bashing, not for crawling, so just keep that in mind. And this body just pops right off. It has one singular pin on the front and 2 body pins on the back. And this is what I mean about weight-wise. This probably weighs a couple of pounds, at least 1 full pound, if not 2. And I plan on lightening this a bit by taking some of the panels off and just seeing what it looks like more just caged. And then we will potentially look at some other body options as well, because I bought this particularly for this platform, not because it looks like a FireTeam. I bought this because it's a Mojave chassis. I've never had one of those before, and my Creighton is pretty beat up. I have a Creighton V2, so this is before, you know, the Hobbyco downfall, before Horizon bought over ARRMA, and I don't have any of this stuff. My current Creighton doesn't have the strut tower brace, doesn't have the Spectrum Firma, doesn't have active cooling. Certainly does not have an e-brake. I've never had this on any of my RCs before, so I'm excited to see how that works and if it's truly useful or if it's just a pure gimmick. I know that they've added this to the Infraction, and on the Infraction it's cool because that's more of an on-road drifty style vehicle. With this, I think you're going to have so much grip. You know, I don't know how it's going to work, because I would imagine these tires are going to be pretty grippy. I forget what they're called, but they're military inspired. They're meant to look like an airless tire, but they certainly are full of foam and air. And 17 mil hex, standard 17 mil nut. Kind of a skinny tire for this, but actually the tread pattern looks great for being useful for on-road and off-road. So I think it's a pretty good compromise there for dual purpose running. The shock towers look a little bit different, possibly unique shock towers. I've not done, you know, part searching to see what's unique about the FireTeam versus some of the other ARRMAs, but it has the traditional suspension layout, pivot balls on the front, and because this is not an EXB, it does not have the little metal inserts, but we'll see how they hold up. Oh boy, it's heavy. Uses the EC5 connectors, as well as it's got the pigtail so that you can unplug this and run one 6S if you want to, even though it didn't have it on the box, one 6S. I guess they don't really expect people to do that because you can only fit a battery in that's this tall. So that's as tall of a battery as you can fit in it, which should be plenty. And I need to check my Genesis batteries to find out which one is going to be the most applicable to run. As long as you tuck the connectors in along the side here, you can run 2 3S hard cases like that, no problem, and the body does sit flush against these pins, which I didn't mention before. There are these little riser points that plug into the body here. I certainly have a couple of options there. Receiver box is up front here that has that SR315 receiver. This is just empty space. You've got plastic bracing front and rear. That is one of the differences that you know, it's not an EXB, so you only get a metal upper brace. You don't get the metal lower braces, as well as you have the weaker aluminum chassis and shock towers. You get all black shocks. All the other 6S ARRMAs have red shocks. Only the TLR Tuned Typhon and the FireTeam, as far as I know, have black shocks. Even though this is protected under the body, they still come with the shock cap protectors. You have one giant body post up front. This is removable. You have the EXB compatible brace here on the front bulkhead, so you can swap that out to EXB parts if you want to. All that means is that that front plate is compatible with the EXB lower brace, is what that means. The body kind of clips in under these hooks here, so it does capture the body really securely, and the bracing on the bumper is also very good. Like, the quality and design of this is impressive for being a non-EXB model. I think it should be very good. We have the standard Spectrum 150 amp ESC. The steering servo is the Spectrum S652, which is pretty strong for an RTR servo, as well as you get a metal servo horn, which is nice. I think we're ready to throw a battery in this thing and just give it a little bench test. You get some ARRMA stickers. You do get a faster pinion. So if I decide that this is a little bit too slow at the box, you do have a high-speed pinion as well. It's a 15-tooth high-speed pinion. Comes with a 12. You get your standard 8-scale tools, which this I still appreciate that they come with this and manual. And then we have the standard SLT3 radio. This is the same radio that I've ran on my ARRMA Big Rock for the past couple years, and it's a decent radio. The power button is kind of in a weird spot on the rear here, but at least then it's got a surround around it so it doesn't get accidentally pressed. It's kind of got a big gate for your finger, a little bit too big in my case. You can one-hand drive it if you really want to, but something that's this heavy and this fast, you should not be one-hand driving anyway. You know, keep control of it. But this is radio. This is a radio that you maybe want to upgrade. You know, you can't do multi-modal memory, and it's a basic design. It does have 3 channels though. Okay, we're going to power on the transmitter. This is on the back button here. Okay, radio is on. Make sure that all of my things are centered. They are not. So my steering is well off center. We'll see if that got bumped or if that's truly how it's supposed to be. Hopefully it doesn't run off on me here as I power it on. All right, 6S powered up, and steering is actually, that's how they have my steering centered for it to be centered. So I might want to adjust that a little bit. How you would do that would be you would center this and then you would pop it off the horn, recenter it, see if you can get it more center, but that may be as best as you can get it. There'll be some small adjustments that I should make on this, but really happy with the suspension of it. It's so plush, really plush, great suspension. Also with the wheels and tires, something I forgot to mention that I really appreciate is that ARRMA still vents the tires. This is something I started doing a couple of years ago. So the wheels are vented and the tires are vented, which is my ideal method, so that way any moisture that gets in can get flung out. And so this is something that I do on all my tires anyway. I usually end up putting it in the center, but they've probably done some testing that proves that it flings out moisture or does something better if you put it there. So there's one of those on each side of the tire, as well as there's venting on the inside of the rim that allows the tires to breathe a little bit better, because it's not air that keeps your tires propped up. It's just the rubber itself and the foams. So there's foams in here, not supposed to be airtight. Don't do that. You know, don't run a sealed wheel and a sealed tire. As much as you think it'll be good, it's never good. It always gets crap with moisture in them, and then you run into a problem. So yeah, there's that. Okay, let's see how this servo works for the brake. So I'm going to hit the 3rd channel button here. Oh, it goes both directions. So which one is lock then? Okay, so up is open. Up opens it even more, and back clamps it down. So yeah, I can't roll it back, so that's good. And then if I let go, I can roll it back easily. So yeah, that's effective. Cool. Just gonna hold it up here for a moment and give it some throttle. Ugh. Yeah, I need a better grip on it. All right, braking feels appropriate. Okay, so that's the platform of the FireTeam. It's a Mojave with Creighton arms, bigger tires. So you could easily convert this back to a Mojave if you wanted to. Well, not easily. You would have to kind of make it a monster Mojave where you would have wider wheels and tires with a big ass short course body on it. FireTeam body is certainly unique. Now I want to go through some of the body panels and take them off and then show you what it looks like as a cage. Is that all these panels screw on, and they screw on with a unique screw. I don't know if this is a revision, because I think the initial models of these, they did have an issue with it would pull out through the screws just like the UDR does, and there is ways of fixing that. I would end up using Gorilla Tape Clear likely on the back of the panels. I think my idea is I want to remove a lot of the panels because, yeah, I'd rather just run the cage. All right, it's time to raise the roof on the FireTeam. All right, yeah, that's so much better already. So you can actually see inside and see the guys. So yeah, this is what I mean. It's fully caged underneath. The body is totally just for looks. There's no need for it. I'm not sure if I want to put some screws back in these holes, maybe, just to run them as like skids. That might be a good idea. I'm going to continue on with taking some panels off until I get it to how I want it to look. Okay, the toy guns are held on by 2mm screws, and actually that's a significant amount of weight. Unfortunately, you can't really pose the arms much better. You can move this one up and down, and you can move this one up and down, but you can really kind of just make him so he's like bringing his arm up to his face and stuff. Not a whole lot you can do. Front end is coming off. It actually has quite a bit of style to it. I might want to leave that. You lose quite a bit of detail in the front, so maybe I'll remove these and just leave that front piece. Well, okay, 38 screws later, and this is where we're at. So that is every body panel off that can come off. I actually really like the rear with nothing on it, so I'll need to figure out a way to have a clip retainer on the rear, which is pretty nice. I'll also like it with no roof, and I think I do want to add in the front hood. This back piece went up under the bumper, and there was 2 screws that held in underneath. So there was that piece that came out, and then here's the fender sides, and here's the rear end. So nice pieces, and they're very dark, but you can get it in black or white. And actually having this on the rear was nice, but I know this will get broken off. So if I do want to run this rear, I would end up cutting this piece off because it looks just pretty flimsy anyway, and it would end up getting broken off. Now before I bolt this back on, I just want to show you, this is the inside of one of the panels, and there's where the screws are. Now that one goes through tape, but these ones miss it. So what I'm going to do is anywhere where there's a hole where a screw bolts through, I'm going to back it with Gorilla Tape Clear. This is one of my favorite things. You can just rip off small strips of it, cut it to size if you need to cut it, and then just screw it on, tape it over the screw holes, a little slice with an X-Acto knife so you can fit the screw hole through, and then this will end up saving your body from cracking or from breaking. It's this stuff is great. I really like it. Well, this is how I want to run it. I really like this, actually. I think that looks way better, much to the designer's cringing probably, because you know they designed all those panels that I just took off. But I really like it with just the cage. So having the open rear end looks really cool to me. And these pins are normal enough where you can run normal body pins in them and they will work just fine. Front one is humongous. The front one, you do need to retain that giant body pin. I also like the front end where I showed it. When you take this off, you lose almost all the details. So having that front end there is key. The rest of the panels, I actually prefer it without them. That's how my FireTeam's going to look for the first run. Excuse my messy bench, but this is my reality. The only downside to the rear being open is that it does expose that rear disc brake. I could potentially have some debris fall in it. Crap is going to get flung up in there anyway, no matter what you do. Anyway, so that's my ARRMA FireTeam. Excited to get out there and run it for a first time. I'm likely going to try it box stock with the gearing it comes with, and then I'll just take the speed pinion with me. Alright guys, if you enjoyed that video, hit the like button. If you're new on here, subscribe. If you want to talk, and leave a comment down below. As always, thanks for watching. Oh, it's a heavy beast. Should be fun though.